Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee. My name is Lance McKinnon, and I am here with my co-host, Tiffany Linderman. Good morning, Tiffany. How are
Hey,
you this morning?
I'm good. I got a fresh hot cup of coffee, so I'm prepared. How about you?
Yes, I am enjoying my Fifth Acres coffee from Good Brothers Cafe, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. If you haven't tried it, go online, order yourself some Five Acres coffee, and get you going. So I'm all perked up here in Pennsylvania. We have another guest on here today. I take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's somebody very familiar, near and dear to our heart, right, Lance? Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll introduce him. So I want to introduce back the one and only Eddie McGowan from CERA Corporation with CERAapp. Eddie was a previous guest, but Sarah is doing so much stuff right now that we really wanted our listeners to circle back around and see how far you have grown and where it's going and how people can get involved and what you're doing with it since the last time we spoke with you. Like I said, this is a very important thing to near and dear to my heart. I think it should be to every parent. There's no parent would ever want to receive this phone call. So welcome back, Eddie, and thank you very much. And go ahead.
Well, thank you for having me back, guys. As you can see, I have my to-go cup of coffee because I'm in a hotel. I'm on the road. Because yeah, Sarah's leaps and bounds from when we last talked. Since we last spoke, we moved our offices into the Allen B. Levan NSU Broward Center for Innovation. That's a partnership between Nova Southeastern University and Broward County. It's a giant innovation center, over 50,000 square feet. And we are members, and our office is headquartered there. It's been an amazing journey with them because we have so much technology around us. We're just immersed in it, seeing things that we've never seen before or never thought we could use for public safety. And now, it's almost like limitless what we can use for public safety.
That's absolutely wonderful. And I just want to give our viewers just a recap of Sarah. What are you guys, your main function, what you're trying to do? And then we can talk about all the things, the technology you guys have built up since that time.
Yeah, definitely. SARA stands for Critical Event Response Applications, and we are a public safety threat response platform for police, fire, and EMS to respond to any type of major event. Specifically within mind our biggest push into schools for school safety in the event of a mass shooting. As you guys know, I'm a former law enforcement officer. 22 years before I retired, I responded to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas attack, which is the genesis of Sarah. That was the catalyst that moved this forward to leave law enforcement and try and improve our technology to improve our response so we could save lives.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks very much. And your technology, what you're doing now is like, I think you just recently released a number, and I might be inaccurate with this number, but the amount of school shootings per year, um, I don't know the exact number, but I think you gave a quote of how many school shootings that we're having per year now.
Yeah, we're at a troubling pace right now, which most people, at least in law enforcement, knew about because of everyone being locked up for so long with COVID and then coming back. There's been multiple shootings on campuses since August. I think it's up to 100 now across the nation. So it's a troubling uptick. And we're now pushing in the market. We actually are in market now from when we last talked. And that's what I'm doing, traveling right now. I'm in New York, up by Albany, with the New York sheriffs. So we're trying to get as much done as possible to try and save some lives and mitigate some tragedies.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. I know Tiffany's got a question. I saw the
Oh,
look.
No, you know the look, but I mean, I just think, I know we'll share it at the end, but I just want to make sure that people that are watching, I know last time when we heard about this, the message, what you're doing, the technology, we realize how important it is to get out and get to other schools, to other businesses. And I know I think part of the mission and what you're doing is going around making sure to educate around it. I think that's the goal here today, is to make sure that people are aware of this wonderful program to help save lives. And so if people are interested in this, what is the best way for them to get in contact and get this up and running in their business or school today?
They can reach out directly to me. Our website is www.CERAapp.com, or they can reach me at edward@CERAapp.com, CERAAPP, 2 A's, 2 P's. And I'll be happy to come up and speak with schools, law enforcement, whoever, to try and help out wherever I can.
Yeah, this is something that's needed everywhere, and I know that you have released a lot of information. There's a lot of technology that you have released. Unfortunately, we can't grab it and put it onto this podcast. But can you just talk about some of the information that you've released, like through articles that you've released, who you've been partnering with, and how it's growing dramatically?
Yeah, well, since we launched we did a soft launch in December, our first police and fire departments are the Davie Police and Davie Fire Departments in Broward County, Florida. And Masters Academy is our first school. Obviously, where we're located, Nova Southeastern University, we hope will be up and running soon. But it's just been technologically amazing being at the Levan Center of Innovation. And we've been able to bolster our system to be accurate. Our dev team's just been incredible. We actually ran a test for Davie at NSU, everything from marking where people are seeing the suspect to video conferencing in with injured people. And that's where we're going to save lives. We're the only ones really in this space specifically designed to save lives in those first few minutes.
And you said something really remarkable. I know when we previously spoke, and we were looking at the shell of it, but now you're actually able to physically go into a school or a business and show them. Like Tiffany and I both, I've seen it. Tiffany has seen it. You're going to be absolutely blown away by the advanced technology of how you can see everything. And I know you can't share everything like that through the podcast, but it's great to see how much it has grown to where now, like, okay, say we heard about Sarah, but now you can actually physically see it in action. And
In
when you
action.
see it in action, you're going to be absolutely blown away.
Yeah, especially when you know this from a first responder perspective, it's just incredible that we finally now have technology after all these years that we can use to manage a huge scene like that, to manage multiple agencies, to manage perimeters, to manage all this information coming in and aggregate it and just put it out in a way that makes it fast for responders. They just need certain pieces. And yeah, to see it run, if you go on the website, we have a video there. You can watch how it works, our product video. But it's incredible. And some of the stuff that we're mapping out already for future innovations using augmented reality and machine learning is just going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I also want to just put out there, I know we just recently had the anniversary of Stanley Douglas.
4 years.
Oh yeah, 4 years, and I know you and I talked, and our hearts still go out to those families, to the students, and everything else like that. So this is a great time for your technology to really be taking off because we all know if we had this technology at that particular time, we could have saved a lot more lives in that particular event.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Look, the assistant chief from Davie, who's our pilot police department, our first police department, was one of the responders at Marjory Stoneman Douglas and said 100%. if we had Sarah then, it would have been a complete game changer because there was so much actionable information that we just never received. And that's so disheartening knowing that that costs lives.
Yeah, that's true. And so for like, and you brought up too, we're going through so much right now with the school systems. The kids have been frustrated, they've been locked down, they're back in school, they've been masked up. We're seeing a high rate of youth suicide. I'm not going to just dismiss that. We're seeing a high rate of youth suicide, a high rate of youth anxiety. We're seeing a lot of this stuff. And with Sarah, there are things, that the students have right in their hands that can prevent things from happening.
Correct. And it's that layer of protection. It's that layer of knowing that they have a stake in their safety. Some people have been against giving kids technology that would help them, but they're the ones with the targets on their backs, and they want a stake in their safety. They don't just want to sit there and wait for their fate to play out. So this gives them that opportunity, and it's that layer of safety for them as part of an overall arching system that we need to start intervening on that prevention side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know we're focusing on schools, but also I want to say businesses too, because
Mhm.
again, you turn on the news, you see where somebody's been displaced, somebody's disgruntled, and we're seeing it in the business arena as well too. So this isn't, sir, it's just not meant for schools. I mean,
Right.
this is meant for anything and everybody. So I really want to drive that home,
Yeah.
like when we're out the restaurants, I'm making sure that I'm looking around now. Not that I wasn't before, but I'm more cautious now. I don't want to be, but I have to be because society has changed dramatically. We had some store shootings and just random stuff where Sarah could have played a part in that.
Yes. It's it's sad that we live in such a volatile time now, but we do. And yeah, Sarah can be put anywhere. And we've seen it. And the best part is when you see the buy-in from stakeholders. We have survivors from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas on our team. We have a chief Kristen Zeman was a chief in Aurora, Illinois, where at the Henry Pratt plant, they had a mass shooting where he killed 5 employees and ended up shooting 4 or 5 officers. So you see people with the experience that have been through it, and you see the buy-in. It kind of is such a nice validation for us to know that we're on the right track.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question? I think like as Lance was going through like the different businesses and, I think when we first talked about this, the school systems made so much sense. My brain then goes to like large venues, like, arenas or going to hospitals. Cause I know there's a lot of times there's lots of populations of people going through different things in those scenarios, that how this could really apply. And then Lance was sort of depicting out some of the smaller businesses as well. Would you say that there's like a direction you would advise that this is like the best use, or would you say blanket it across every single, business? And ultimately, I think if we could get it to all the locations, that how impactful it could be. Have you guys thought through that piece already?
Yeah, and how we're building Sarah is at some point, as more and more businesses, schools, religious facilities, venues have Sarah. Your Sarah, if let's say you have it from your school, will work in that shopping mall. It'll work in that stadium. So you'll receive that alert. You'll be able to report suspects, report injuries, just like you can at your own school. And we create that ecosystem so that Sarah is that go-to response for an active shooter. We're actually it's been fast tracked, but we're actually talking with a couple of events, major event venues and concerts coming up to be their we're kind of morphing Sarah into, instead of just a reactionary system, that we're actually going to proactively use it to manage an event for security for them. So in the wake of, you've seen with some other concerts where there's been some tragedies, most notably in Las Vegas. So we are actually in the process, and hopefully the next time I'm on, I'll be able to tell you who that is and where we were, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
So
so and that's great
curious.
because no, because I didn't know in my mind, but no, but you know, and that's one of the reasons why we really wanted to have you back on because of the growth. You know, and this is a hard conversation. You know, we just had a woman on Leslie Wyrick. And we talked about suicide. You know, it's a hard conversation, but this is a conversation that this impacts every single one of us. When you walk out of the house, you grab your keys, mad, whatever, go to the grocery store. We don't know what that next event's going to be. I got into a habit now. Every time I go into the store, I carry my cell phone. Why? Is because I don't want to ever be in a situation where I'm without my cell phone. And so those are little things that since our conversations, Eddie, that have made me change some of my habits of being out there. And I know if something was to ever go down, I have the CERAapp, and I can push that, and the emergency response team is there. I mean, these are little things that we all can change that makes an impact.
Yeah, and our triage system, our virtual triage system, which is proprietary to us, I mean, that's the lifesaver. God forbid somebody's injured, or they can self-report, or somebody next to them can report, and we can guide them through first aid to stabilize them until we get there, and we can prioritize them. It's just all designed to save lives. And now we're talking with other companies now, since we've been at the Innovation Center, to connect right to hospitals, so hospitals can track those injuries coming to them, so they're prepared. By the time that injury shows up at their hospital, they know what it is. They've seen the notes, they're ready to go. They've seen the video that from when we talked to them. So it's all designed just to keep shaving seconds off wherever we can to minimize loss of life.
I just had like my heart just fluttered as you said that. I think that's just incredible to think, you're everything, like you said, the innovations that you're coming with are every second counts when it comes to that school shooting or the shooting wherever it is. And that the care for those patients, if somebody's bleeding out, the sooner they know where the injury is and they can act on it, or they could get, maybe they can start to figure out the type of blood, that patient has, so they could start that IV sooner. So all those things, I'm just like so impressed right now thinking about how many lives you're going to be able to save by what you guys are doing. So amazing. Kudos to you guys.
And I,
The
and I
cable,
know I wanted to bring up too is like we're talking about the events happening, but I also want to talk about preventative measures here because Sarah is a preventative measure too, as well, is because we see things happening. Like if we're out in public, a lot of times maybe some school shootings happen where the student doesn't even attend that school. A coworker is no longer employed at that company. We're in a restaurant, where somebody just comes in, a grocery store. It's a preventative measure as well too to get the ball rolling, like you said, Eddie, to shave seconds off of a tragic accident incident.
the faster we can get to that suspect, then they're not accessing victims. So, and we have a lot of designs in the works, which are quiet for law enforcement only, that will be more on the prevention side. So hopefully we can stop it before it even happens.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this, go ahead, Tiffany.
Sorry, Lance. I was just going to say, so I think you said, so ultimately this can be used anywhere. And then this is something, if somebody is interested in it, they can go to your website, they can contact you. You then go there, there's an education session that happens. From there, is it an application? Is that at that point when everyone can get like an application that after they go through the training? It's not something right now that they could go and sort of get the application ahead of that, right?
Right. So to maintain the integrity of our system, to make sure that the wrong people aren't on, it is a sponsorship type system where you have to be sponsored, let's say from your school, or you have to come in because your business got there. Most importantly, we have to connect with that police and fire department in that area. They come first. They're the center of that hub. And then we attach the spokes to that hub, which are schools, businesses, stadiums, religious facilities, so that they're getting that message directly, which is where we are so speedy in our response, because they're getting that information immediately. So that's where we start. So if people are interested, feel free to contact me and I'll reach out to those agencies, have them do a presentation. They want to, do a presentation for them. If they want to come on, that's great. And then we can start matching up those different businesses and those different schools. And then we create that ecosystem where it works everywhere.
Yeah. And I highly recommend, for everybody out there who's listening, schools, parents, business owners, contact Eddie. I've never seen anything as fascinating as I've seen with this technology, and how fast and quickly it moves and how accurate it displays everything. You cannot put a price tag on security. Yeah, and that's really one thing. Some people look at the bottom line, but the new world that we're living in right now, everybody's looking at the bottom line, of things. But I'd rather have something where I'm secured, my loved ones are secured, my friends are secured, because it's those ones who are left behind that are hurting, and you can't put a price tag on that. So I really urge people to go out, educate themselves on CERAapp and what it's all about, and watch a display, a demo. And when you watch that demo, your mindset is going to change from dollar signs to, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And we need this. And I'm not going to equate it to like car insurance. It's like we all have car insurance, but we hope that we never, and we pay for it monthly, but we hope we never need it. But, it's like Sarah, we're going to pay for this and hopefully we never need it, but we have it if we do, and it's there to protect us and to save lives.
Yeah, and the best part is we made it affordable. We know that, a lot of budgets struggle. We've made it so that it's affordable for police and fire departments. We've identified grants they can use to help. We've identified grants for schools to help them out. We've even offered through our philanthropic initiative, as we do still. If we run into disadvantaged or public school districts that have difficulty, we'll supply it for free. If we can get those police and fire departments on, we'll give it to them for free. Just let's keep the kids safe. That's the most important thing.
Right. And Eddie, here's a question. I'm not sure yet, and this might not even been in the game plan yet, but are you guys able to take this to Congress, to the government, to get them on board with Sarah? Or is that something down the road, or you can't mention that yet?
We're getting there.
I see the smile on his
That's all.
face.
That's a long road. I try and stay away from politics, but eventually we have to be involved. So, yeah, we'll get there at one point. Right now, we just want to, keep rolling as we're rolling, and you're going to see it grow exponentially. Like I said, once we get the hub, the police and fire, all those spokes can start coming in, and that's where we create that little ecosystem, city by city, county by county, township by township, and we start making your entire area safe.
Yeah, because there is no no town too small that this is not fit for.
I've talked to police departments with 30 officers. We built it actually for small departments to scale outward, where most companies build big to try and get that big ticket number, that big money number. But we understand that 80% of the police departments in this country are less than 100 officers. 80% are less than 100 officers. So we built this just for them because they usually don't have the resources. They don't have the capability to buy a $250,000 system. So we've made it, very affordable for them, and they're the ones that need it the most. I'm sure many people didn't hear of Newtown until Sandy Hook. Many people didn't hear of Parkland until Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. It's those small towns where it happens. They need this the most. They need that mutual aid component the most, where they work with other agencies. So for us, that's a no-brainer.
That is too, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you back on, because of the growth from the beginning to, I would say we're at the middle stage now. We're already moving forward. There's a lot more to come. I know you and I've talked many times about, I see how this year is going to be a very fruitful year for Sarah. And not just, you're not about, this isn't about making money for you. And I want to put that out there. This is not about making money. This is about saving lives.
Our benchmark is not revenue, it's on lives saved. That comes first.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew, because, everybody says, well, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Is the fact that if I can save one life today or make a difference in somebody's life today, man, I've done my part. And that's, more than, you can't put a dollar sign on that.
That's why I love coming back to you guys. You get it. You get it.
Yeah.
I just have to say, I know I haven't known you as long as Lance has, Eddie, but I have to say, of the short time I've known you, you are one of the most genuine guys, and you can feel how much your heart is truly in this. And I'm not saying that to boast you up necessarily, but I think that people need to understand 100%, as Lance was saying, this is not about being a business. It's about people, the people. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And like I've told Lance, if you know families from, let's say, Margie, someone else I know, and you hear their stories, you can't help but not get involved emotionally. You can't not help being involved genuinely to say, I need to do something different. I have the capability, so I have the obligation.
Yeah, that's true. And like I said, and I want all of our listeners, to take this in, our followers, share this message. Share this message with, if you know somebody, a family member who's in law enforcement, who's on a board of education, who's a business owner, share this podcast with them. Because this is a message that I know personally, I don't want to ever have to receive a phone call or get the alert going off on my telephone that there's a shooting at a school. And I don't think any parent wants that. So share this message, because this is a message of saving lives, our children, our coworkers, and just be all around vigilant to what your surroundings, at restaurants and gas stations. And, it's just a reminder that what's going on in the world is not what it used to be. And we cannot sit back on our heels and be relaxed, unfortunately, anymore. We have to be vigilant, and everybody has to be doing their part, and preventative protection, and helping one another.
And like we always say, when it comes to a school shooting, it's not taking sides, it's hitting everybody.
Yeah, it really impacts the one that are left behind. Unfortunately, you might lose 17, and those 17 are gone and gone, and we didn't have it, and they're taking it. But it's the other 1,000 people that it's impacted, and they're, you don't know how far it's going to impact them for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Like I said,
A lifetime for some of those families. It's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime. And
They're collateral casualties. There's so many people affected by one shooting, all the way through, between the families of those killed, families of those who survived, first responders. It affects thousands of people, and most importantly, we're losing kids, bright kids, man, bright kids who could be our future and change the world, and we're losing them to senseless violence. So,
and now bright kids, we're losing officers too. I know that you had mentioned a number, and I think in some of these smaller towns, they're actually understaffed, with the local authorities. So with that being said, this is another advantage for them to have if you're already understaffed. But again, to have this program in place, because smaller towns, bigger towns, some people will say, well, law enforcement, they have this bad stigma. No, not really. We're out there protecting and serving, and that's the job. Are there a few bad eggs? Yes. However, but what Sarah is doing and the CERAapp is doing is far greater than anything that I've seen, witnessed, and actually have talked about. Eddie, I'm a huge advocate.
I know you are.
I've like kind of embedded myself into Sarah and become a huge advocate all the way here from Pennsylvania to get this message out. Maybe between this and youth suicide and things like that, man, I am doing everything that I can to like make sure this company grows and it just grows and then that saves lives.
I appreciate you both very much.
So Eddie, I know you're at a conference and you snuck away real quick, and but we really wanted to say thank you very much for taking your time out of it, out of the conference. I'm glad you're at a conference now, and getting that exposure and everything else like that. But I just want to leave you. Thank you for what you're doing. The team that you have put in place is outstanding. I've read all their bios. I haven't met them all personally, but I mean, every single one of them, I could feel their passion in their bio. And Sarah is absolutely amazing. And Tiffany, make sure we get all their stuff down. And Eddie, we'll do anything we can. And all of our listeners and followers, please listen to this message and share it because one life is one life too many.
Thank you. I appreciate your support. Happy Saturday to you guys.
Happy Saturday to you. Thank you. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you.